No.
Got it.
All right. Awesome. Well, everybody, thank you so much for hopping on tonight. We really appreciate you being here to hear a little bit about what coaching is all about. We're going to try to make this fairly short. We know that your time is precious and everybody's very busy, so we appreciate you being here. My name is Jess. I have been an online health and fitness coach for like 3.5, almost 4 years, which is just crazy to even think about. And then Erica, she and I run groups together. So we're both coaches, and we will kind of give a little bit of introductions and kind of how we got started. And here comes children. Yes, Emma. Oh, okay. All right. So anyway, my story, briefly, I'm going to make it brief, I promise, was that I have 3 girls, and they are now aged 10, 9, and 6. And I was a surrogate for my sister, and she just turned 4. And so I was freshly postpartum from my surrogacy, and really felt like I lost myself a lot in that pregnancy. And I had always been a runner before, and I just wasn't able to find time to do that with the 3 little girls, and then postpartum, and there was just a lot of things going on, and I just really felt lost and defeated. And I needed a different solution. Somehow I stumbled across My Coach. I knew nothing about online fitness. I had tried like DVDs in the past, but I just thought, I was just at the point where I was kind of like, okay, something needs to change, you know? And so I hopped in, I went all in with her online groups. I didn't know her at all. I'd never met her. We met online. She just kind of said, lean into the community. And I really fell in love with it. I fell in love with the groups. I fell in love with the support that I got there from all these people that I had never met. I knew nothing about, but really started to get to know them in the groups. And I was always posting, and she approached me about coaching, to which I was like, definitely not. That was like my first response was like, no. And she asked me why not. And I'm like, well, I am freshly postpartum. I have a lot of weight to lose. Like, I'm not in a good spot to be coaching other people. I don't really have any idea what I'm doing myself. And she kind of, nudged me along, saying people want to be with you on your journey. Like, they don't want to be with someone that's perfect. They don't want to be with someone that has all the answers, that never does anything wrong, that never messes up. And I still was like, yeah, I don't think so. And then I kept going in the group. She approached me again. And I remember saying something to my husband that time, like, Amber thinks that I could do what she does. Like, Amber thinks I'd be a good coach. And I remember him looking at me and being like, yeah, you would. You'd be good at it. And I was like, huh. And then I just like thought about it for a while. I'm like, no. I mean, who would follow me? Who would join my groups? I don't know enough about any of this stuff to really like be a leader. I've never considered myself a leader in any capacity. I'm a NICU nurse. I've always been a nurse. I was pediatric ICU, and now I do neonatal ICU, staff nurse. And leadership was just never anything that I was in a position to do. But she approached me again. And I thought, you know what, why the heck not? And at one point I was like, these programs and products, they've totally changed my life, and the community, honestly, more so than anything, the community. Anybody can find an online workout. Anybody can find, recipes online, whatever, but it's the community that really, of all these people, like-minded people doing the same thing, that really keeps you going on the days that you're not motivated. And I fell in love with that. And I thought, if I can help another mom that's feeling the way that I was feeling, because I was not in a good place after that surrogacy. And I just thought, this really helped me get out of it. And if I can help somebody else get out of those feelings of defeat and like, gosh, is anything ever going to change for me? Am I ever going to feel normal? Am I ever going to feel like myself? Am I ever going to have a minute? All of those things. Then I'm going to give it a try. And so the very first, when I decided to do it, I remember when I posted my very first post, like, okay, I've decided to become a coach, and I'm going to be running this online accountability group if anyone would like to join me. I remember posting it, like throwing my phone across the bed and like sweating. And I was like, oh my God, like, is anyone going to say anything? Is anyone going to be interested in joining me at all? And I got a couple comments, and my first group was a couple people, but that's kind of how I got started. In a nutshell, I won't take too long. So Erica, you can go now.
Oh, I love hearing that story. Okay, if I start glitching, let me know and I'll hop on my phone. Am I glitching already? Okay. I'm like paranoid. My internet, anytime I'm on my laptop, it sucks. I need to get a new one. Anyway, I love hearing your story. I've heard it several times, but it just, I don't know, makes me realize, again, like why we do this and how you can be impacting people without really even knowing it. Sorry. So how I got into coaching, I have been approached to coach years ago, and I had an interest, but I had all the fears and hesitations and all the excuses. And so I never went anywhere with it. And then I was always a runner, and I thought running was the end all be all exercise. And then I got older and I had a nagging injury. And I also have a nutrition degree. I'm also a registered dietitian. So I have always wanted to fuse the two. Teaching, I'm a teacher, I'm a math teacher, but I've always wanted to infuse teaching and nutrition somehow. But again, I always made excuses how to mesh them together once kids came along. And then I was in a really, really bad space, 4 years ago, early 2018. I had been struggling with secondary infertility, and it was like, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years into trying to have a third baby. And I was like very negative and everything was just, I was unhappy and just not in a good place. And I remember being in the shower and something happened with my body that was like another scare and like another, like, this is not going to happen. Like my plan in my head is not going to happen. And I remember literally saying like, Jesus, take the wheel. Like, I don't know what you want me to do. I don't know where to go. Like somehow tell me. And I swear it was like 2 days later that I saw Jess. Jess and I have been friends. Our husbands are best friends. And so I knew Jess, and we've always been friends. We've always just got like clicked. So I saw her posting literally like 2 days later that she was doing this. And I was like, all right, I want to do this too. This is my sign. I can pour into others and help others feel good in their own skin. I can use my degrees. I can help people, like teach people what, my health and wellness, information and help teach people and use that other degree that I have and start lifting and doing other exercises to help my nagging running injury. So I call it my trifecta. It all just came together. And, if Jess didn't share that, I wouldn't be here, sharing my story either. And that was, 4 years ago now. So that's how we got started. And I'm so freaking glad I said yes, because, I think about, well, gosh, wonder what it could have been if I said yes. I think it was like 3 years before Jess asked me that somebody had asked me about coaching, So we're so glad you're here, like Jess said. And we know that if you're on here, you have fears and misconceptions and hesitations. You're curious, but you're not sure. So we wanted to first talk to you about probably the same fears and hesitations that you're thinking. We had them and we still have some of them. It's a growing process and they never completely go away, but you learn how to navigate through them, and together you realize, or you can just help each other through them and realize that these fears and hesitations are more in our mind, and move along. So biggest fear and hesitation, I think, was fear of judgment. What are people going to think of me? Posting on social media, especially, I think there's some youngins in here, but most of us are like in the 40s range, and our generation didn't grow up with social media. So people judge you when you're putting yourself out there. So that was really hard. And unfortunately, a lot of the judgment comes from people that you love and think that would support you. So how we got over that is kind of like Jess said, you just rip the Band-Aid off and you just do it. And then you do it again. And you're like, oh, that wasn't so bad. It's like anything. A lot of times the fear is worse than the actual thing that we're thinking about and scared of. So you just rip the Band-Aid off, do it, and it's really not that big of a deal. And truly, I said this in my post today, like if people are judging you for putting yourself out there and trying to help others with their health and wellness, help yourself stay accountable to yours, and help yourself bring in some income, that's on them. And the more you do it, the more you, it just starts to get a little bit easier. Does it still bother me sometimes that I think people are judging me? Honestly, it truly doesn't. I don't give a F. I'll try
I'm
not to.
kind of thinking that too. And the other thing is, we're so scared of that. And most people, I have not had people be like
No.
rude to me or mean to me or
Nope.
or anything. And I had all these feelings, oh my gosh, what is everyone going to think? And what is everyone going to say? And no one says anything. Like,
Yeah, nobody
people
says
don't
anything.
care
Nobody
about
cares.
you as much
Yes.
as you think. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like, you
yes.
care so much
It's in our heads.
yourself and it's in your head, but they don't. People don't think about it. You know?
Truly, it's the opposite. People are like, oh, that's really cool what you're doing. Or thank you for posting that. I relate to that. So it's actually the opposite of what we're fearing. So the judgment is just, and the thing that's really cool that's also helped is part of this job, which we'll talk about, the 4 vital behaviors, is working on yourself and personal development. And that has been crucial and so beneficial to also getting over a lot of these fears and hesitations, including the judgment from others. You know, you work on yourself and literally from the inside out, and, you know, you learn how to deal with it and you just end up not caring because life's too freaking short. Oh, the other one. Okay, we'll move on. Not a salesperson, definitely not a salesperson here. Like small talk, talking to strangers, talking to people in general is like huge fear of mine. So I'm not a salesperson. And the beauty of this job is we're not selling something. We are literally sharing what's working for us and our journeys and why we love this, why we love the products, why we love the workouts, the community. And so literally, if you're authentic and sharing your journey and being real and relating to people, it's about relating to other human beings and the struggle. The products sell themselves. You don't have to do any selling. Now, yes, do you have to talk to people? Yes, it is nerve-wracking, but it's kind of like like the judgment. It gets easier as you go along, or you learn how to navigate it more so. Don't have time or too busy. Excuses. I will just call it out right now. I see ladies every single day in our accountability group who are so busy. I'm going to put myself in there too. I mean, every single minute counts. And if I have the time, everybody has the time. And there's busier people than me doing it too. And it's just, the beauty of this job is you make it work for you and you can fit it into those pockets of the day. And if you really have a drive to do this and want to have an impact on others, you will find a way to make it happen. It's not easy, but it can be done. And with time, again, like with practice and realizing, like tonight, I had 15 extra minutes before my doctor's appointment. Well, I sat in my car. Instead of scrolling social media, I sent out some invites. I checked into my challenge group real quick. So like you figure it out. And when there's a will, there's a way, and you'll make the time if you want to make it work. And all of these things are things that we help each other with. You know, if you would sign up to coach, like you're not just like, oh, go coach. You know, we are here to help constantly help through these types of things, because the time factor will never go away. I still struggle with it. Don't get me wrong. But it's one of those things you kind of reflect and you say, okay, how can I tweak things in my life to make this work better? Oh, maybe that's not working, you know? So don't get me wrong when I'm saying like, oh, all these things are just poof, they're gone. You just work toward them again and learn how to adjust and adapt and keep moving forward instead of quitting and making excuses to not, you know, push through. Not qualified. I don't look like a Beachbody coach. I'm too old. I'm too young. I'm too whatever it happens to be. Absolutely, completely false. We have women coaching from their 20s. My gosh, some of the top 10 coaches are pushing 50, right? Like there are coaches that are older. So that, again, all in our heads, all excuses. It's about showing up and being authentic and being consistent with your journey. If you're consistent with your journey, it doesn't matter where you come from, what you look like, how old you are, you're going to help people. Okay. This is a big one too. A lot of people want, am I glitching? Okay, sorry. I'm so paranoid that like you guys can't hear me and I'm just talking to myself. that you don't have a transformation yet, that maybe you want to get your own weight loss journey done, or maybe you're postpartum and you want to wait till you're through your postpartum journey. That is the biggest mistake, because people don't want to see the end result. They want to see in the middle, like the hard, like, how did you stick with it? What did you do in those times when you didn't want to get up in the middle, or you didn't want to get up and work out because you were up all night with the baby, or you had an extra long day at work, or whatever it happens to be in your particular situation? People want to see you going through it. So if you have a journey that you are starting, like, now is the time to do it, and show people through it. Because then when they're ready to start, they're going to be like, oh, I just saw Jess go through her postpartum journey, and so I know she's going to show up for me and she's going to help me when I don't want to. If Jess just shows up and shows her after picture of like, oh, look at me, it's kind of like, well, oh, must have been easy, or we think that anyway, even though we know that there had to have been something in there. So showing it to people really is powerful and impacts people. And that is what gets people to want to join you, the trust factor. Okay.
Yeah. 100%. I feel like that's what inspires people when they see your journey. Yes. And they see the hard, and they see all the work that you put in, and they think, all right, well, I saw where she started. If she can do this, I can do this, and we all relate to different people. Like, different people are going to relate to me, then relate to Erica, then relate to Maria. And so we all have our own story to tell. And I think that that's something that's super important to remember too. Okay, so another hesitation that a lot of us had was, I don't want to seem salesy. I don't want my friends and family to think I'm just trying to get them to buy something off of me now. Again, Erica kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, but it's all about your mindset and the way that you're presenting it. And it's all about sharing what's working for you. Like, for me, when I started, I knew how much this changed my life, and I wanted to shout it from the rooftops. I wanted to be like, moms, I found the thing. Like, I found the thing that we can stick with. I found the thing that we can do while our kiddos are running all around, or while they're napping, or whatever. I found it. And so I just wanted to share it. And it's the same as, like, for example, today I tried on a pair of pants on my Instagram stories, and so many people messaged me like, where'd you get those pants? Where'd you get those pants? Where'd you get those pants? And it's the same thing. Like, I love these pants. I got them from wherever. You're sharing what's working for you. You're sharing what you love, what you found. If you have found a great restaurant, you share that with people. It's the same thing. It is the same thing. And
I always say it's the same as all the emails we get every day from different companies that are sharing what they have to offer. Sorry.
Right. No, 100%. And so I would say, gosh, I don't know percentages, but definitely the majority of Beachbody coaches are not salespeople before they came in. Like, Erica is a teacher. I am a nurse. We're about as far as from salespeople as you could get. And so if that's a concern of yours, as long as you are sharing authentically, and that's what we teach in our mentorships, we teach you how to just share your story authentically with others, then you don't have to worry about that salesy part. And then another hesitation, isn't the market saturated? So a lot of people think that too, like, oh, Beachbody's been around forever. Aren't there, so many coaches that there's not, I'm getting in too late. First of all, that could not be farther from the truth. Some of the top coaches in the network just started like a year or two ago. And think about how many people there are in the world. And in all honesty, think about the obesity epidemic, and think about just how many people could use what we have to offer just to live healthier, happier, more fulfilling lives. How many people could use that? I mean, the market is not saturated. People need what we have. And like I said before, we all relate to people on different levels. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, Jen has a really good analogy to this. She's like, if your kid came home to you and said, oh, I want to be a dentist, or I want to be a doctor or hairstylist, you wouldn't be like, no, it's rated, right?
Right. And I mean, our market, like what we are doing, that's never going to go away. Needing to live healthier lives, that's never going to be like not a thing anymore. You know what I mean? Like, we are always going to need to live healthier lives. And so I think that this is like the greatest business to get into, because there's always going to be people that need us, always. And then, so let's see, another fear is, will anyone join me? Big fear of mine when I started. I'm like, who is going to think I am qualified to do this? But the thing that we need to remember, and the thing that I want to kind of share with you guys, is that as coaches, it is not our job to be the fitness expert or the nutrition expert. That is not our job as the coaches. We have top trainers in the industry that create the fitness programs. They make them very specifically, and we follow those. We have, registered dietitians. We have people creating nutrition courses. Our job is to encourage people along the way. We don't need to be an expert. We just need to have a heart to help people. We need to be their encouragement. We need to be there to help them when they are feeling like, oh, I don't know if I'm motivated anymore. Create that environment within our groups of people showing up and supporting each other. And that's what keeps everybody going. That's our job. We don't need to be an expert. So that was another one of my big fears, is like, oh, how am I qualified? Will anybody join me? And honestly, people do. And sometimes it takes a little while. And we always say this business is built on consistency and time. Because when you first start something out, it's new to everybody that's following you, right? They're like, wait, what is she doing? What's going on? But as long as you are just sharing your journey authentically, and you're on that journey regardless, right? You're sharing it authentically. Over time, people will start to see like, okay, what is she doing? So you'll have some people that will jump in with you right away and be like, oh, you're doing this? Yes, let's do it. And then you will have some people that will need to follow you for a long time before they need to hop in, but they will hop in, especially when they see that you've been showing up week after week, month after month, year after year. Like, I still have people come to me. I'm in this almost 4 years. I still have people that have been following me from the beginning that will come and say like, okay, I've been watching you for a long time now. It seems like this might be a thing that's working for you. So I'm going to give it a try. So people will join you. And then let's see, another hesitation is like, will my significant other support me? What is my family going to think? I personally didn't have to worry about my significant other. Mike's always been super supportive. He didn't really know anything about it though. I'm not going to say he still doesn't know a ton about what I do. But he just said like, yeah, you'd be great at that. Go for it. And once he started to see how much I love it, like, this is something for me. This is an outlet for me. Yes, I'm a nurse. I work very sporadic hours. A lot of the time I'm just home with my girls. Izzy's in kindergarten, which is half day kindergarten. Don't get me started on that. So she's only gone for like 2 hours a day. So mostly I'm here. And this was my thing for me. Like, this was my outlet, and he saw that from the beginning. And so he's been supportive. You don't always have that maybe from the very beginning, but I think when your family, when your significant other, whatever, sees how much fulfillment you get out of it, it changes the game. And if you don't have that family support, I don't have family that is under, I don't have family that is my customers and stuff like that. I just don't. My family does other things, and that's okay. Like, I do my thing and they do their thing. And this is my thing that I love and brings me joy. So, yeah, I think that's about it for those. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask.
When you start bringing in a decent paycheck, they'll start supporting you.
That too, I know. And when we started earning trips, the first trip that Mike came on, he was like, wow, like, right? This is pretty sweet. You got this for both of us? I'm like, sure did, babe, sure did. And it feels good, because for the most part, for me, he's the breadwinner for the most part of our family. And it felt really good to be like, no, I did this for us. Like, I got this trip, I earned it for us. So
I upgraded Charlie's truck. I'm proud of that. Okay. Why do we freaking love this job? First thing would be the community. Even like Jess and I, like I said, we were friends before, but we literally talk every single day, all day, every day. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. All day. Our husbands in the beginning were like, oh my God, are you talking to Jess again? Yeah. And even, just random acquaintances that you get connected with, and people that you literally didn't know at all that now you're friends with. Like, it's really cool to just connect and make friends and have this support system that's separate from anything else in your life. Like, this is just, it's not weird. It's just whenever you're leading a healthy lifestyle, sometimes people can be kind of like, intimidated by that. So it's nice to be in a spot where you're going to be supported no matter what, wherever you're at in your journey. So I can't say enough about the community and the friendships and the reconnections and the new connections. Like, it's super, super cool. What else? The accountability. I mean, being a challenger has, you're going to hold yourself accountable, because if you're leaning in as a challenger, you're going to have accountability. But if you're a coach, you have to show up. So you can't be the leader of the group and like not showing up, consistently. Of course, there are times when things happen and you have an off week or whatever, but like, if you're the coach, you got to be there. So I have not been more consistent. I know Jess says it all the time too. We have not been more consistent with our health and wellness, and we're not perfect. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm drinking wine right now, but overall we are taking care of ourselves, and that's important. You got to take care of you before you can take care of anybody else in your life. So the accountability piece is literally priceless. I love that this is just something for me, like Mommy's Beachbody business. And, it's all mine. I can do this on my own time. And it does make you feel like proud. And there's this sense of confidence when you see your business growing and you're helping people, and you get these messages from either your coaches or your challengers, like, oh my gosh, I lost so much, whatever weight this week, or I'm feeling so strong, or your coaches are reaching goals, like, oh, I got my highest paycheck this week. Like, that is really empowering. And to know that like you were the boss babe that did that, like, it's a really cool thing. Because I don't know what your careers are, but in my career, my teaching career, it's there's not much accolades to it or rewards, and everybody wants to be, I don't know, it's nice to be rewarded and acknowledged for what you're doing. And in this business, you get it in so many different ways, including financial freedoms. I mean, it can go from anywhere from paying your Target card or your Kohl's card, to like, I help, if I wasn't doing Beachbody, we would not have purchased a bigger truck and a camper last year. So things like that help your family, paying different bills. And some people, my goal this year is to surpass my teaching salary and beyond. Some people are bringing in really big bucks. And of course, Beachbody doesn't, guarantee anything. It takes effort. Don't get me wrong. It is not like you just show up one day and you're like, you have to work the business. You have to work, but you can definitely make this, whether you just want to pay for your products or you want to like go all in and make this your full-time gig. And the thing about being a full-time gig is like, even the biggest coaches in this business are not working. Like, you're leaving your house at 8 a.m. and coming home at 6 p.m. Like, you still get to make it on your own time, which is super freaking cool. Okay, I think you're up next, Jen.
Yes. Okay. And so I saw your question of how long did it take for our businesses to start growing? That is a great question. I would say it starts growing right away. As soon as you get your first challenger, then your business is growing. And I also want to kind of, it's not a fast growing thing typically. And I want to normalize the fact that when you first start and you're having your, we run groups, and we'll talk about that. That's kind of one of our jobs as a coach, is to run these accountability groups. You might have a person or two in there with you, and that's normal and that's okay. And it's a slow and steady process. So I would say it starts growing right away. And it really depends on how much time you put in, and how much time you put towards having challengers versus also having coaches who are building their own teams. That's kind of dependent on how fast that it grows. Some people get to our first big rank called Diamond. Some people get there in less than a month's time. I've heard of a couple of people getting there in 2 weeks. It just depends on how fast. For me, it took me 9 months to get to that point. So it just depends on how much time, what are your end goals? You know what I mean? Are your end goals to help a couple people, or are your end goals like, I want to make this my full-time job. I want to earn 6 figures. I'm ready to go. Let's do this. So it really is kind of dependent on that. But Erica and I have both been coaches for about 3.5 years at this point.
And I will say too with that is if you treat this like a job, it will grow. If you treat this like a, the one downfall is the amazing thing is you can work it when you want. You can make your own hours. But the downfall to that is you have to stay accountable to your
Right.
to working your business. You have to show up to your 9 to 5 every day, right? Like
Mhm.
every day I wake up, I dread going to my classroom, but I have to go, right? With this job, I have to take the initiative and have that intrinsic like desire to make this work and the belief that like this is a real business and you have to treat it like that or it won't grow. And I will say the biggest thing that you can do as a coach is start tracking your income from when you first start. I track monthly income. It's amazing to see the growth.
Mhm.
And it just shows like, holy shit, like this is actually yes, we're in the business to help others, but there is nothing wrong with wanting to grow your business yourself too.
Heck yeah.
And let's be honest. So if you start coaching, it would be, you need to track your income monthly and see where it goes. If it's increasing, then you're doing something, you're showing. If it's not,
Mhm.
then maybe you gotta
And
take a
yeah,
step
like
back.
reevaluate what you're doing. And like Erica said, if you treat it like a business, then it will treat you like a business. But if you treat it like a hobby, because I've heard that before too, if you treat it like a hobby, for when do you show up for a hobby? When you feel like it, when you have time, when you can fit it in. Then a hobby doesn't pay you, right? A hobby is not something that pays you, but a job, you fit it in regardless. And like Erica said, like this, the hours are flexible, which is amazing. You work whenever you want, but it is flexible, but not optional. And I think that's a big thing is people like, life gets busy and then they will take their foot off the gas with their business. And when you hear about, not meant, the people who aren't successful in this, it's because they're not showing up consistently. It really is. They're not giving it enough time and they're not showing up consistently. If you continue to show up, even in those hard times, because we all have those hard times, if you just continue to show up through that, and work whatever hours it is. I mean, I don't work traditional hours in this business at all. I typically do most of my stuff before my girls even get up. My goal always is to like on an ideal week, I like to get up like 5 o'clock in the morning. My girls get up at 7 and I work from 5 to 7. And I try to have most of my vital activities done by that point. And we'll talk about what those are. So yeah, some of the other things so we're talking about things that we love about this business. So being our own boss, yes, that's where the flexibility piece comes into play. And, for example, last week I had COVID and for a normal job, I would have had to been out from work for at least 5 days, if not more, perhaps losing out on that pay. I didn't have to do that here. Now, I didn't feel so awful that I had to be confined to my bed or anything like that. So I worked the whole time. I was on my computer, I worked, I did my thing, I was making my money. And I didn't have to worry about like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I'm going to have to call off what childcare and this and that. And for me, childcare is a big thing too. Having this job with Izzy in afternoon kindergarten, I don't have to have someone watch her. Okay, so another thing that we love is the fun trips. We've got a bunch of them coming up. So Erica and I are heading to Vegas next week for what's called New Leader Conference. Once you hit a certain rank, you get invited to that. A 2-night stay at the Bellagio that Beachbody covers for you. They cover meals. You just have to pay for your flight to get out there. And so we are going there next week. We have what's called a diamond retreat in Florida in February. And then we have a Success Club trip to Punta Cana in March. So these are all things that you can earn. And, it's all kind of in a row right now. All these trips are in a row, but they're all things that you can earn with certain things that you do with your business, with how many people that you help get started per month and with different rank advancements. So that's a huge perk for me because I've traveled more in the past 3.5 years than I probably have in my life before that. I mean, honestly, like we would go to the beach that we would drive to once a year, but I fly all over the place and it's really fun. And then of course it's super rewarding. And we've talked about that, like just knowing like for me, knowing how I felt before, when I hear other people come to me saying how they felt that was similar to me and how now they're feeling so much better, I'm like, I know, and I relate to it. And I'm so glad you feel that way too. Like, I'm so glad that I was able to help you. And that's what I think about with my coach. Had my coach, this random person that I didn't know, not posted that on that day that I happened to see, and I happened to be in that mindset of like, okay, I'm doing this because I don't know what else to do. I'm signing up for this and I'm going to do this. So when we're posting, we have to think, you never know when it's going to be that person's moment of like, yep, this is what I need to do. So super rewarding. And like Erica said before too, you are never alone in the coaching, within our challenge groups, there's a ton of community, but also within the coaching community, there's a lot of community too. We help each other. We give each other ideas of different challenge groups to run, different things to do, to build our businesses. When we come together on these, in the Vegas trip and the Punta Cana trip and stuff like that, we all get to be together. And it's really cool to be on these trips with other women who are doing the same thing. Like, we all get it. We're all Beachbody coaches. We all know what we do. We're all talking in our stories and writing posts and doing all those things. And it's a really cool community. And I've met some amazing people that no chance I ever would have met otherwise, who I will now consider like lifelong friends, which is a really cool thing. So yeah, so that's the next topic, I think. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, real quick, pay and all the stuff that Jess said. I love it all. It's super exciting. And it builds your confidence in more ways than just coaching too. Like, I don't know. I just feel more confident in so many other areas, like just speaking up more and having more conviction in my choices and decisions and things. So, okay, how do you get paid, right? First of all, it's not a get rich quick gimmick. Like, if you think that you just join one of, as a coach and you're just going to make all this money, like, that is not true. And it makes sense. Any business that starts is not like rolling in it. You have to give it time. And I remember telling my husband when I started this, I was like, I'm just going to try it for like 3 to 6 months and see how it goes. And he's in a business more where he deals with money more and businesses. And he's like, no. And he literally told me, he's like, you need to give this at least 2 years. And I was like, really? And he's like, yes, a business, like if this is a business, you can't give it 3 to 6 months. And I will never forget that, because if I would have gone off of my timeline, I probably wouldn't be here. But that has stuck with me forever. And I'm like, just trust the process, keep going. And I'm telling you, it's so true. You got to trust the process, show up, be consistent, and the income will grow. It's not a pyramid scheme. Pyramid schemes are actually illegal. So, this company is following so many protocols that they're being, monitored by the government, that they're following. It's not a pyramid scheme. You could sign up today and go to the top of the company. So, or you could sign up today and never get paid to do, so it's about how much effort you're putting in and the work and the people you're helping and the impact you're creating. It's not a pyramid scheme. And that was something that I was nervous for. And so learning about it, I'm like, okay, it makes complete sense. And it's like any other company. The more you put in, the more effort your company's going to grow, right? If you start a company and you don't, see growth in 3 months and you quit, well, no wonder, you didn't give it the time. This is the cheapest way to start a company too. I know there are other MLMs that you have to buy a pretty decent starter kit or whatever they are. This is literally, some of you may already be a coach and you didn't even realize it. It's your package that you sign up with yearly, $160. That's what it is. And then as a coach, we do have a monthly fee, $16 roughly, that is similar to like an Amazon or Netflix fee. And then you also get 25% off products, but it's literally next to nothing to start your own business, which is awesome. How do we get paid? You get roughly 25% on all products that you sell to customers, so retail. Then once you get going, there's something called volume. So when you have preferred customers and coaches sign up and they start purchasing, and then maybe they have some people that sign up, you start earning what's called volume. It's like this virtual piggy bank. And you won't see it at first. And that's really frustrating. I get it, because I felt the same way. I'm like, my gosh, why am I not getting this money? But I'm telling you, you wait and you keep going, and that volume, like that's most of what my paychecks are now, is volume from what's called your downline and the people under you, but then people under them and people you don't even know that are like somehow in the system under you. So volume you start to get paid on. And there's lots of stuff. There's lots of trainings and things on payment and how we get paid, but this is just kind of like the basics of it. And then this is so cool to me because like I said, I'm a teacher and we don't get bonuses. We get free lunch once in a while. When you get to a certain rank, you get quarterly bonuses. And let me tell you, they're well worth it. There's different ranges, but it can range anywhere from $1,000 to what was Amber's, like 50,000, 45,000.
No, I think it was like 60 last
60.
quarter. Yeah, just about 60.
So Jess's coach, who is like the nicest woman in the world, most down to earth, normal person, she gets a quarterly bonus between $45,000 and $60,000. Like that's more than my yearly salary. So, and again, she works. It's her full-time job.
Mhm.
She's a stay-at-home mom. Okay, this is her job, but I mean, she stays at home with her kids. You know what I mean? So there is really an opportunity for financial, gains in this if you put in the work. What else? That's it. I think bonuses as you go along.
Yeah,
What
that's
do
pretty
we
much.
do?
Yeah, no, that's pretty much it in a nutshell of how we get paid. There's the retail side of 25% commission. And then there's the, as you're building a team side where you get the team volume from that. And you start accruing that when you get to your first rank, which is Emerald rank. As soon as you get to that, you'll start being able to cash out on that team volume. And then as you get further up in the ranks, you get the bonuses. That's kind of how that looks. And the cool thing about building a team in this business is when we think about, when I'm thinking like, okay, if I could even just help one mom, if I could just help a couple moms. I mean, realistically speaking, I can't help all the moms. Like I can't help all the people in the world. And when I think about, my downline right now, the coaches that are under me and under them and Erica and the coaches under her, and how much impact we have, like way more than I could ever do on my own. So that's a really cool thing about that is knowing how much impact we have. So, okay, what do we do as coaches? So we run our online accountability groups, kind of post some motivation in there, usually a daily motivation post, and then kind of going through and commenting on other people's things as they're logging their post-workout selfies and just encouraging everybody, supporting everybody. That's a big part of our job. And we have what's called 4 vital behaviors. I'll just kind of go through them really quickly. And the first one is to be the product of the product, which I think is the coolest thing ever, because what other job is your first requirement to be the healthiest version of you, to be always working on yourself? Like, what other job is that a part of your requirement? That is first on the list, to be on your own health and fitness journey. So like Erica said before, it is the ultimate accountability, because I was the biggest roller coaster worker outer before this. I would go hard. I was all or nothing, go hard. And then I'd fall off the wagon for months and do nothing, and back and forth and back and forth. But now as a coach, I'm like, no, this is my job. I have to show up. And in turn, I'm like the healthiest version of myself, physically and mentally. So that's the first step. And then personal development is another one, so that's the mental aspect. So physically being product of the product, using the supplement, the nutrition supplements that we have, and then doing the fitness programs that we have and sharing about them. And then personal development is working on that mindset piece, because yes, like any other job, it's not always going to be easy. You're not always going to want to show up. There's going to be hurdles along the way that you have to get over. And if you really want to make this a business, you've got to be in a good mindset and always listening to something every day, some type of personal development, which I never did one day in my whole life before being a coach. I thought it was weird. I remember seeing the self-help section in the library and being like, oh my God, like who reads self-help books? And now that's all I read. And I'm obsessed with it. I am obsessed with it.
It's all I listen to. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So those are the first 2 things. Okay, Erica, do you want to go into recognition and inviting?
Yeah. So recognition is just kind of shouting out your challengers and your coaches. When your challengers are rocking it in your challenge group, send them a message, shout them out in your challenge group, shout them out on your Instagram, just again, kind of that support. Same with your coaches. When your coaches are crushing it, messaging them, just lifting people up, truly recognition. And then, when people earn certain ranks and stuff, like you get so rewarded for this job. So like you reach certain ranks, your coach is going to like recognize you for that. They're going to shout you out and probably send you something too, which is super cool. Same with like in your challenge groups, like running different, challenges within your group and fun prizes and stuff, like recognizing those people for showing up and doing the hard thing. Like it's hard to lead a healthy lifestyle. So recognizing when those people are showing up. And then inviting is the hardest part. It's hard, it's scary, but it's like anything, the more you do it, the less scary it gets. The more you realize it's in your head, like people aren't like, when you send them a message, they're not like annoyed by you. And even if they are, let's like worst case scenario, if they're annoyed by you, like I have never gotten I've never gotten a mean message back. I've been ghosted. Like I can't tell you how many times I've been ghosted, but I've never been like on the receiving end of something really mean. So inviting people, sharing what we're doing and saying, hey, come join me. I would love for you to join my accountability group. Is this something you would, benefit from? That's what we do.
And I think
share, invite,
go ahead.
Help ourselves and recognize each other.
Yeah, that's it. And with the inviting piece, we always kind of say, it's like, if you're putting it out there on social media, like, oh, I'm having a party on Saturday, everyone's welcome. Like, who's going to come? Because people are mostly going to think you're not talking to them. Whereas if you send a message being like, Maria, I'm having a party on Saturday, I would love for you and Cody to come. Then it would be like, oh, okay, she wants me to come to her party. Okay, I haven't thought about it, but yeah, let's, you know what I mean? Like it's really showing people that you are thinking about them in particular. And a lot of time I've had so many people who have said to me, thank you so much for reaching out. I just got a message. Oh, I wish I had it here. I just got an email yesterday from a new challenger, somebody that I've never met her on Instagram. And she said, thank you so much for reaching out. You reached out at the perfect time. I really was feeling lost. Like I really was feeling like I needed something. I'm only in week 1, but I'm feeling really good already. And if I hadn't reached out to her, she would not have reached out to me. And so that's our job, is to reach out and invite people to join us. So yeah, that's it for that.
So Michaela has a question. How many coaches are under Jess and then Erica? Oh gosh, how many did you sign up?
Okay, so you can sign up coach. Things are a little bit differently. Things are done a little differently than when we started. Now we have coaches, preferred customers, and customers. So coaches and preferred customers are kind of in that same bank of your downline, where you would earn the team volume and stuff from them. And then your customers are where you would get the retail income. It used to just be coach and customer. And we either had working coaches or what we call discount coaches. So I have a lot of discount coaches. So those are people that are just coaches for the discount. Like they don't coach at all, but they are still in my downline. How many working coaches do I have right now? Jen and Erica are my top 2. I have Maria on here. Jen's on here. Let's see. I don't know, 20. I maybe have like 20-ish. I would say. I'm trying to think because I have a couple different business centers too, and we'll go into that some other time. But yeah, I would say about that.
Yeah, and truly, you'll be surprised at the people that you attract. Like I thought, like who's gonna want to join me? And it's just crazy. Like the people that we have, so many people in our warm market that we know that we didn't even realize like would want to join us, and then growing your following anyway. So it's crazy how many people you can impact, but you won't know it until you try.
Yeah.
And how I feel is like, what do you have to lose in trying to help others? But you have to get time too, because if you want to help others, that's the easy part. Like people will join you, but if you want to help yourself and your business, you got to give it time. You have to show up and give that part the time.
Yeah. I was listening, you guys that are my coaches have heard this already, but I was listening to this podcast already or last week, which I thought was really good. And she was asked, like, what makes some people successful in this coaching business and others not? If they're given the exact same resources, how come some people are successful? And she said, the people who are successful are those who say yes to opportunities and figure it out as they go. The ones who don't get paralyzed with like, I don't know all the information, so I can't really start. Because honestly, there is so much information in the coaching world, which is awesome. We have so many resources, so many trainings, anything you ever want to know, you can find it out either by asking us, by looking in your coach office. I mean, there are tons of things that you can do, but if you wait until you feel like you know everything there is to know, then you will never start. So it's just about showing up, you know, sharing your journey on social media and inviting people to join you. That's what it is. We always say, like, your job is your journey. Share your journey. That's the bottom line.
Learn as you go. You got to learn on this job.
100% learn it. There's still tons of things I don't know. And I've been coaching for almost 4 years. If I would have waited till I knew all the things,
oh my gosh, right? Yes.
And that's the thing,
yes.
is people, you got to think too, people know that we are real people. Like, we don't have all the answers to everything all the time, and people don't expect perfection, and people don't want perfection from us. They just want someone to be in their corner. There's a lot of people that don't have anybody to support them, that, you know, would love to live a healthy lifestyle, but just don't have that supportive community. And when they can get into our group and we're all there supporting each other, we're all on our own journey and our own healthy lifestyle, and we all mess up and we all fall off the wagon sometimes, and we all, you know, life gets in the way, but we come back in and we're always cheering for each other. And there's so many people in the world who need that. So yeah, is there any other questions or anything? Okay, well, thank you guys so much for hopping on tonight. It was great talking to you about coaching. So whoever invited you to this, whether it was me or any of the other coaches, definitely reach out and kind of chat and ask any additional questions that you have. And we'll hope to have you on our team soon. All right, guys, have a great night.
Thank you. Have a good night.